All right, welcome back, everybody. I've got a great video today, and this is going to be part one of two parts. And let's get right into it. What's the differences between iron palm and poison hand? And shout out to, I forgot the screen name though of the subscriber who asked me to do a video on this, and I was like, damn, that's a really good idea. So if any of you have any ideas for videos, or you have questions about things that would make a good video, let me know. He brought this up. He's like, man, what are the real differences between iron palm and poison hand? And the first thing I want to talk about is herbs, of course. And most of you probably have had iron palm training, but for those of you that haven't, herbs play a big role in it, or at least they're supposed to. When we hit with iron palm, and next week's video will have me hitting, we would just line up off-centered from the bag itself and basically drop the hand, come up about eyebrow height and drop the hand. Bam, 50 times with the back of the hand, 50 times with the side of the hand, and then 50 times just short, from like there. All right, so that's basically iron palm. We would do some meditation prior and then after. We apply medicine before and after, and then sometimes you apply it before, in the middle, and after. No big deal. Although when I first started, I didn't know how hard to hit, and I know a lot of you probably had that same problem. That's why I filmed this already, but I had to refilm it because when I looked for a thumbnail, I found that one with that's on there with the guy with the big brown paw. And I was going to talk about this guy, not that particular picture. I don't know whose that is, but this guy that went to teacher school, he had a brother that was there already, and his brother was like a black belt when he was a white belt with me. And I asked him what the hell happened to his hand, because I was about to start iron palm training, and he told me it was from hitting iron palm. So I asked, teacher, and I asked some other senior students, why is that? Why is his hand like that? And is my hand going to be like that? And they were like, no, he's just a jerk. He don't listen. And I asked him, what happened to your hand? And he told me that he was hitting, just like I just showed you, but he was hitting very hard, like his brother would hit. Now, when I first started doing iron palm, and even when I would drop and I was hitting the back of the hand, man, I started asking people, what do I need to do? Because damn, that hurts bad. And they said, just go through the motion and barely hit until the bruising goes away, until the hand's not as sore, and then you can go back to dropping and hitting. That's what I did. The herbs, I think that the herbs play a role, like in the beginning when your hand is sore or you're bruising or whatever, and the herbs play a role. After that, I hardly ever use medicine whenever I'm doing iron palm. Rarely will I use medicine. Only time I really use medicine is like a psychological effect of breaking bricks, and then so I'll put some on, and you've got that smell, and it really triggers something for me and gives me that extra oomph, if you will. The herbs for iron palm medicine are more than what a bruise medicine or a Dao Jiao is, okay? But when I was teaching this in the video format, I brought up, because this is what teacher would talk about, is that we have herbs that are in our iron palm formula that draw the chi, your internal energy, to that place wherever you're putting the medicine. Since then, and knowing so many herbalists and learning more on my own, there is no herbs that do that. Okay, so what, there's different formulas. they will all work because you're barely even, after you get past the initial stage, your hand, I mean, I'll go through bricks with the back of my hand and it's nothing. You know, I don't even need medicine. So the difference with the herbs are major, because in poison hand, you have a cold batch and a hot batch. They call it a cold batch just because it's not hot. It's just a regular batch. But I mean, you make a 5-gallon drum of this, or a 5-gallon, you know, water bottle, glass, of course, and it has to soak for 1 year before you can use it. So once you get your herbs, you don't even start until 6 months in, because your hot batch needs to soak for 6 months. And then you stay on the hot batch for 6 months. So when you're doing the strikes and you're using the herbs, the hot batch, you're using it for 6 months. And then after that, you go to the cold batch, because now it's been soaking for 1 year. The medicines are way different. Like my cold batch, man, I mean, there was, I don't know how many roaches that were, you know, I'm talking about like a cockroach. I don't know if it was a real cockroach or if they had a certain name for it. I mean, there's a ton of herbs in that cold batch. There's a ton of herbs in the hot batch. One thing that was different with the hot batch, even though you did use alcohol, you know, and for you guys that don't know, I'm not talking about rubbing alcohol. I'm talking about like drinking alcohol. But once you use it with the herbs, you can't drink it, of course, unless you're doing like a wine of life. Those herbs are meant for the alcohol to be soaked, and then you consume the alcohol. This type of medicine, these type of herbs, you only would use it for external use. But anyways, where was I going with it? The herbs were so different. Oh, this is where I was going with it. Along with the alcohol in the hot batch, you also use vinegar. And the vinegar is used to draw the herbs in deeper into the under the skin, if you will. So it was a real different process, because, like I said, with Iron Palm, you're putting medicine on, you know, Iron Palm medicine on, you know, prior to striking, maybe in the middle of striking, and then after striking. With the hot batch, I'll get into the cold batch there in a minute. With the hot batch, you are actually, I had to get a hot plate and a like a cooker thing, you know, where, you know, it locks, the top locks down on it, and you make it as hot as you can stand it. And you actually, instead of just putting some on and rubbing it on, you actually soak your hand in there for as long as you can. You make it as hot as you could possibly stand it, and you hold it in there as long as you possibly can. Then you bring your hand out, and then you'll go through the strikes. Every fourth strike, you go back to dipping your hand like that. And that goes on for 6 months. All right, the cold batch is just like Iron Palm medicine, where you pour some on and you rub it on. It's not a soaking thing. Although, teacher told me this, and I did do this, is you can, the cold batch, you can put some in a pot, like, and then just like if you're watching TV or something, soak your hand, because you want that absorption. So as far as herbs, that's the big difference. And I didn't want to make this like a 20-minute video that's going to take me forever to upload, and how many people will click off of it because of the, you know, the what do you call it, the attention span nowadays. But so I wanted to break this into 2 parts. Next week, I will get into the differences in the striking, and I will demonstrate on the Iron Palm bag exactly how to do it. And you can see my hand. My hand is nothing. It's normal hand, you know. But I just struck, because like I said, I filmed this the other day, and but when I saw that picture of that Paul, I had to talk about that guy, and I wanted to talk about him in the last video, which I didn't, because I didn't want to try to describe it. Now you can see it in the thumbnail exactly what his hand looked like. But the striking is very different from iron palm to poison hand. Poison hand, you hit hard, and it's intense. And like I just said, I just was hitting the iron palm bag with poison hand the other day, and you don't see nothing wrong with my hand. All right, so that's it for this week, you guys. This is a big topic, and I hope you guys tune in next week, because it's going, to see that kind of hitting really shocked me, and it really helped me too. So that's it. I'll see you guys next week. If you haven't subscribed, do so. What the hell? This is good stuff. Where you gonna get this at? Subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff, you guys. I thank you all for being here, and I'll see you next week. Peace.